thrift, but do not fucking buy new shit. Okay? Let's go.
I'm Fie, and I live in Aarhus, and I'm the facilitator of the Clothing Club. My relationship to style and clothes is that, I care a lot about what I wear because it's kind of like a medium to express myself. Everyone knows the power of clothes. This is a powerful bag. Clothes can change who we feel like that day, what kind of emotions we have. Yeah. And if you care about how you look, you want to preserve the things that you really love. I take very good care of my clothes, and I care that I source it sustainably. So I've been buying secondhand for almost 10 years, and maybe the last 5 years exclusively secondhand. I'm thinking sometimes I actually don't spend less time consuming, but my consuming patterns are different. I still go look at clothes when I'm bored or if I want something new to happen in my sense of style in my life. But now I just go to secondhand stores, or I go to flea markets, or I go to the clothing club.
My name is Saskia Kjellström, and I started a brand called Saskeye Studios, which is sort of a sustainable fashion sewing universe. Yes, it's both workshops, but also I make clothing and sell from reused materials. This is from my towel dress, and it was just to show people how a material is actually really unappreciated. Old towels can become something really nice. I have always loved fashion as far as I can remember, and I think for me it's just about expressing who I am, and yeah, it's sort of an art form but also a communication tool. In winter time, seeing a grey Scandinavia with only people going in black makes me really depressed. So a lot of people tell me oh, you make your colors make me really happy, and I'm like, that's amazing that I can have that effect on people. I like to spread joy. I think our world is depressing enough. I wanted to do something that I'm really passionate about, and I thought I wanted to do Saskeye Studios. It was really hard to sew and sell at a price that was fair because people will not buy it. And that made me really sad that it was like that, and I thought then we have to make sure that all the pieces of clothing are worn more often. That would lower our need for new clothing. And then I started researching what possibilities it was to make that, and then I found clothing libraries, it's a thing. So I thought, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna start a clothing library, I'm gonna collect a lot of really nice clothing, and I'm gonna make it really easy and accessible for people to share them.
The Clothing Club is a clothing library in the middle of Aarhus, where we are a lot of members who share this wardrobe together. Den er fluffy og varm, men den er også lidt sommeragtig. Den kan lidt det hele.
My friend Saskia, she started it, so I was kind of in it from the beginning. It's so obvious to me. It only makes sense to use it. It's instead of spending money on new clothes, it's a sustainable choice. It gives me much more options. It makes me be more playful with my clothing, because maybe I wouldn't buy a golden skirt myself if I would have it forever, but here I can be like, no, then I'm just going to try that for this month.
The power of clothes is something that everybody knows about, and it's not something that can only be bought. It's something that can also be borrowed. It's something that can also be shared.
I remember at some point I was coming a lot in the other place where there was no changing room, and then at some point I went to a regular clothing shop where I just like went out and I was like, wait, you don't do that.
Wait, my boobs are out. Yeah. You just get used to a different kind of vibe.
Whenever I go to regular shops now, it feels very alienating, almost being like, wow, am I actually owning this and spending this much money to buy something that there are 100 other versions of? So I really like this alternative.
Well, I found it on Facebook and it looked really cool. I'm trying not to buy new clothes and stuff like that. So I went here and it was cool and I love the clothes and the people. And now I come here like every Monday. We are VVE, newly born female DJ collective here in Aarhus. So we're preparing for a anti-Black Friday live stream at the clothing club. Hopefully people tune in instead of sitting on their computers buying things they don't need. This was my favorite. I had this like at home for so long, and I loved it so much. I buy secondhand clothes. I borrow clothes from friends, but this is more fun because it's just so different from anything like I've experienced before, and like the relationship to clothes with the clothing club is just completely different, and it's very liberating.
I want to say a few words about the clothing club. We wanted to introduce the concept of renting clothes to you. It's a great alternative to buying fast fashion, going to H&M or Zara and buying cheap clothes.
My fashion consumption has gone from really bad to really good. When I was a teenager, I would buy a lot at H&M and fast fashion stores. And then I learned about how bad it was. How many pieces the actual piece of clothing is worn is the biggest problem right now, because so many pieces are made, and then if they're only worn once, then the impact of that piece of clothing is really big. So now I almost only buy secondhand. A lot of stuff out of it. And you will get One Direction. If we should make new things, it should be things that are well done under good circumstances in a fair trade way, and it should be in a circular economy where the world isn't pushed way above its boundaries. I feel like when you talk with people, and most people know that it's a problem, but you have so much other things to think about in your life, so this is not your highest priority. I think we just have to make it much easier and accessible for people to make the right decisions, because if fast fashion is what's in the middle of town, is the cheapest and easiest, then of course people will buy that. This bag, for example, was one of the first pieces I made with like Saskeye Studios, and I ordered these the labels, which like made it really fun because then it felt like it was really a real brand, and I wanted to incorporate my drawing with what I was sewing. So that was the idea, that I made these patches. And these were part of the clothing club from the start. So because I knew I couldn't sell them, I sell some of them, but it was really fun to be able to give people the possibility to wear them without selling them. So they could borrow them in the club, and that became sort of like an insider for people to wanting to come to the club and be part of it.
So you become a member by coming to the club and looking through the clothes, finding some things, start your membership, and then you take your things home. You can exchange them during the month. Buying from small designers like Saskia, or going to secondhand shops, going to flea markets, buying from secondhand apps. Like, there's so many different options, and we're just one of them. More things are suddenly available to you if you don't feel that you have to live up to this picture that you see in a commercial. You don't have to really run after whatever is currently in style.
This used to be a blanket, and it's inspired by the YouTube influencer with Wendy. She made this copy of a Danish designer called Cecilia Bonsen. So her dresses are made with kilted fabric and they cost like 10,000 kroner. They're super beautiful and most people would never afford to buy them. So she made a copy with a blanket. So then I wanted to make my own blanket dress. That's also why I started hosting the workshops. It's because I want to teach other people how easy it is, because I really understand that it seems super intimidating. But if you have a teacher, it's not hard at all. You just need to be shown how. Upcycling clothes is when you take something and you make it a new thing that's even better. If you're recycling, you maybe use something for a new purpose, but if you upcycle, you make it even better. You put even more effort into it, so it becomes even more work. I made this bag out of the old gymnastic mat. It's maybe not the prettiest bag, but like anything can become a new thing. My process for upcycling is like different every time I make something because it's so dependent on where I find the fabric. It could be old textile from your home, it could be already existing like clothing pieces. You can color it, you can just cut it up open so you get a lot of fabric, and then you cut the pieces and then you sew it together. This part of that. I really hope that with my workshops that I can teach more people and that then they can of course tell their friends it wasn't that hard, and then more people can teach more people.
It's a process and there's no wrong way of starting your process. I think it's just important to start it because we really need to make this shift to consume more sustainably, and I think the Clothing Club can be a great way for some people to start.
We don't believe in a world where you are disconnected and individual, and that's sort of the fashion world. It's very competing, and we want to create this alternative world where it's about being together and community, and there's so much young people who feel lost and alone. So for us to make this community is also like, it's just, activism and caring about people.
Today we want to boycott consumption, and for that reason we're doing a DJ live stream with a new DJ collective that was born in Aarhus a couple months ago. And yeah, we're all going to be wearing Clothing Club clothes, and we're going to show you some good tunes today, so you can be online without consuming and have your tab open with some nice music instead of online shops.
For me, it's having a community of people who also love fashion and love dressing up and love clothes, but they want to live in a more sustainable world. And we want to do it as a community, and we want to do it in a way where we're creating an alternative for other people to be a part of.
I have this dream of that fast fashion would stop producing clothing but start producing patterns or host sewing clubs.
Maybe we can share the clothes that are produced by bigger brands instead of them producing 100,000 of the same t-shirt.
We have never been able to buy as much different clothing as cheap as we can today. Still, everyone looks the same. Be curious about what is out there.
There is hope that we can develop a different culture around clothes, and that's what we want to be a part of.